More Uruguayan reports stating that Manuel Ugarte to Manchester United is beyond close now. The deal is getting ever closer and could be happening this week. But this week is very important in the decision for Manuel Ugarte in terms of Manchester United following it through or going for their other targets. More of an update on Ederson and that situation and what's going on there as well. We've also got TRUFFERT reports as well. Another left-back option for Manchester United on the cheap and why that deal is cheaper for Manchester United to go for now. Competition again, as you'd expect, and the competition side of things is why Manchester United next week is massive, because players cannot hang around for much longer. Yes, we can go and do Ugarte on deadline day, but United need to be 100% certain that they can get Ugarte on deadline day before someone else takes the other targets, or clubs just say, books closed, this player is staying here, he is playing games now. It is getting crunch time in the transfer window. It is Sunday morning. The first Premier League weekend is almost over. Manchester United positioned nicely. Please do give the video a like on the video. We're going through all Manchester United transfer news and what's happening in the world of United and getting this squad right for the rest of this season. We talked to you today about everything going on with United in the Premier League and what we might need from what we've seen. So what's happening in the window? Guys, please do give the video a like subscribe as well as liking the video, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Sunday morning, my voice is still not completely right after the weekend and Xerxes antics in the last few minutes. So yeah, bear with us, please, everyone. I didn't even realise it was that bad until I started talking. It was one of them mornings where you wake up and then you don't know until you actually start opening your mouth like, maybe I'm not quite right just yet. But yeah, I'm still getting into the transfer news and bringing you what's actually going on with Manchester United right now. Mark Lambridge straight in. I know you love Ederson, Mark. He has dropped a super chat straight in there. Thank you, mate, for that one. Look, the report, we touched on yesterday's reports with Ederson in the evening show. I've read a little bit more into it and the situation and where it's actually at. So we talked about the 51 million that Atalanta want. They are not going to stand in anybody's way to get Ederson over the line. Now, Liverpool are also interested in, and obviously are still in the market for that midfielder. Good day for Liverpool yesterday, and it would be a worry for United if someone like Liverpool is going to add quality like Ederson to their squad. They need to be 100% certain that Manuel Ugarte is definitely coming to Manchester United before they allow someone else to come in and take someone like Ederson away. We obviously know the Zander Berger situation as well and where we're at there, but it is this week now, I feel, where the decision probably internally, I don't think we are going to know for definite what's happening. Like, we're not going to get I'm pretty certain we're not going to get a here we go this week. You never know, it might actually happen. The South American side of things and the South American media, as you can see at the bottom of your screen running along there, just checking this morning, and some of their big journalists and their big media outlets are saying that Ugarte is very, very close. And this is going to be wrapped up pretty soon. But we did hear that last week as well. So how sort of in the know and realistic their comments are and how close they are to the mark, I don't know. As like I said, I've not done much dealings or looked into any of the history of their media or anything like that, or sort of know how reliable they are. But I also know that obviously Ugarte is pushing it from his side, and that's probably where them reports are coming from more. Like, if the player says that he is definitely going and wants to join, then they're going to report that, I feel. But I think that is where the Ugarte side is, that he is pushing all of that media from that side, and that's why I think we're getting them stories from the South American side. Every time we see one from their accounts, it's really positive and it's really close. But then you get down to the European and like the British media, and it isn't quite the same. And I think we have to probably trust the British media a little bit more on this situation and where we're at right now. But the importance of this actually getting some form of like confident go-ahead for United this week is in what I said in the intro, really, in that we are looking at our other targets now probably being picked off by other clubs. It's all right them agreeing to personal terms with United, like Zander Berger would, or Ederson would, or any other player would, for instance, but they've also agreed personal terms with other clubs as well. This is how the game works. So if, for instance, Manchester United say, look, we know now, I think we've got a good indication that Ugarte is done. They have to be very, very careful with this, by the way. And this is why I think Manchester United have been constantly on the go and trying to push moves through as quickly as possible and not wait till deadline day, because there is always that gazump effort coming in. Like we talked the other day, like United could have easily, because some Kardoglu from Brighton. This is what's going to happen right now. Ederson to Liverpool will pain me. It really will pain me if they come in. They are interested. They're also interested in TRUFFERT, who we're talking about. The Rennes left back, who United are interested in. 2 years left on his contract. He's worth about 18 million euros. So another cheap alternative for United. With that one, I'll talk about that one in a minute, but I want to concentrate on the midfield situation and where we're at, because as much as I've been saying and praising everything about Ineos, and they have done the right thing. They've done what they've done. There is someone who's just renewed his membership, but for some reason, YouTube is taking the name off. It's actually taking the name off the actual person who's renewed. I do apologise. Been a member for 4 months and just renewed. Love that. Thank you. I cannot get it up, so apologies there. Well, we're talking about Ederson going to Liverpool there. They've got the money and they're ready to go. They're probably willing to spend the 50 million that Atalanta want for Ederson. Is he worth the money? 100% is worth every single penny of that. I think that's a good deal. That is a great midfielder who can do several different jobs in your team. And Liverpool taking him would be a bit of a shot. It'd be a bit of a shot in the to the heart, I think, that if Liverpool get him. But you've seen how Liverpool played yesterday, and someone like that quality actually coming in just gives you that sort of fear factor again. Like United are still quite a way off, and we have got Liverpool coming up as well soon in a couple of weeks. So it puts everything in focus about how crucial this week is in the window now. Hi Adam, let's get Ugarte now and Amrabat, says DJ John, who has just renewed his membership. Thank you, DJ John. Good to have you back in the chat, mate. Hopefully it's a bit warm over there in Sweden for you in the summer. I know you're freezing in season, mate, but thank you for renewing again. Ugarte, everything points towards Ugarte. There's nothing changed on that side of things. It does look like that's the way that Manchester United will go, but they won't go if it's not the right price. We said that yesterday. So I want to look at the other side of things now and how important it is this week for United to actually make sure that they try and go to the end of the window. But are you going to be willing to actually spend that extra bit of money because you've lost everything else? This is where we're probably going to see a different side of Ineos. Whereas the sort of like the hard hand, the hard negotiating side of Ineos, we've seen that in full all the way through this transfer window, and it's great. That really doesn't count when it comes to deadline day. Deadline day, you're basically at panic stations. You know who you want. You know he's the right player. That's fine. And on that side of it, that's okay. It's not so much a panic, but the panic comes in when you start bidding more than what you wanted to. I think United in the past have paid more on deadline day than what they wanted to before. They've had to buckle because they needed the player. And you know what? Maybe a bad result against Brighton may prompt Ineos into doing something like this. Well, United are winning, and like I've said this before, while United are actually winning, everything is okay. So everything is actually working okay on the pitch. It doesn't look like we're that desperate and we don't need to go out and get the player as much. We know we need the player, but what I'm trying to explain is it's like, if United lose to Brighton, then does that panic United into thinking, we definitely need to back Ten Hag more here, and we might have to just jump the gun and spend a little bit more than what we wanted to? And then that is where Manchester United then go back to the sort of old days. So really, if they're going to stick to what they're actually planning, what they had planned out for this transfer window, and stick to their guns in being hard and walking away from Ugarte if they don't get their price, really this week is important, because then you're going to lose your other targets, because we desperately do need another midfielder. It would look a bit half-hearted if we went back and got Amrabat and didn't get Ugarte. I don't think the United fans would be impressed at all with that. So the likes of Ederson, the likes of Andre, all these other players, Zander Berger that United have been linked with, these are the players that come into the fold right now, I feel, because the other clubs are going to want to play them. Like everyone else, everyone else around European football, in whatever respected league they're in, if they got a player that United have actually linked to, then they're going to want to play that player because they want to go progress with their season. They're not going to wait around for Manchester United. And I think United would have thought that PSG would have buckled by now, personally. And now they're stuck in this little tug of war that we've got with everything going on, not contract-wise, but transfer fee-wise with Manuel Ugarte. I just feel like we're on the edge now, and a decision needs to be made, I feel, this week. I don't need to know about it, but I think internally at Manchester United, they will need to know this week where they are going. Like, preparation for the Brighton game. And if that, like I said, goes wrong, it may trigger that little bit of a panic button, which I don't want it to. I would rather just say, you know what? Look, we've got what we've got. We stick with what we are. We've got to keep this culture. We've got to keep this process and not overpay for players, because it's for the better of the long run of Manchester United. And that is how I feel this window is turning out right now. We've done fantastic business, and I just feel like it's a case now of like United just standing the ground, walking away, everyone getting upset because we need a midfielder, and them dealing with that, and possibly losing out on the second option players like I've just described, because other clubs are going to come in and start taking them players away. Players are not going to hang around forever for United to make a decision. It has to be Ugarte. It has to be. But again, this week is big decision time for United. It's when everything needs to just be laid out. One of them big recruitment meetings, whatever it is at United at Carrington, make the decision and get this over the line. I think that's where we need to be right now. I'm going to come to the chats. Please do give the video a like, guys. We're over 1,100 in the room. And only 200 likes, so please get them likes up. They just don't match up. There's more than enough people in there to get them likes up, guys, so keep liking the video. Thank you, guys. Michael says, we must be concerned with Rashford and Casemiro being starters for United. We will never hit the level of other teams. There must be agreements in their contracts. Ugarte is a possible solution if selected. Yes, I fear. Like I said, I'm still getting slaughtered for slagging Rashford. I didn't even slag Rashford off. I just brought up a point. I actually said he played better than he did last season in the game, but people are still not happy about it for some reason. Lion's Opinion says, good morning all. Hope you're all okay. I'm feeling optimistic about Brighton. I think being real, the win was good, but if we were more clinical, then we could have scored 5, so keep the positive, peeps. Yeah, we could have. Shoulda, woulda, coulda doesn't win leagues, though, I'm afraid. And you do need to put the ball in the back of the net. Unfortunately, United don't do that enough. So, yeah, keep your comments coming in terms of when you would actually walk away from the Ugarte deal. Like, when do you make a decision? When is the right time to actually call it on Manuel Ugarte? Do you go all the way and chance it till the deadline day? Is that where United are actually at now? Is it more important that United see this through and get the player rather than worry about the price? What is more important? Because we've seen, like, we do need cover in midfield. We do need cover in defence at full-back areas as well. And like TRUFFERT, like we were talking about there, and Ederson, that they are options. Manchester United can actually go out and get them players. But quite clearly, Ten Hag wants the destroyer in Manuel Ugarte. And I think Ugarte is the top target. And if you were to ask me now which way I would go with that question I've just asked, then I would probably push it out till deadline day for Ugarte. But it's the danger of deadline day. You are literally risking having to pay a little bit more and buckle at the price and put the club in that little bit more financial sort of jeopardy, you could say, a little bit. We are literally right on the line with financial fair play right now, and everything that Ineos are doing is with that in mind. It would be a tiny little bit, as positive as it is getting Ugarte in, it would be a tiny little bit disappointing if we do end up buckling right at the end of the transfer window for a player that we've been chasing for 2 months, because we need that player in because of a bad result against Brighton or something like that. I don't want to jinx the Brighton result, by the way. We've got a chance in that game, but it's going to be tough, as we know. But I just don't want United. I don't want the bad feeling right at the end of the window, because I know how it will go. Like, anyone who wasn't keen on Ineos will then just go in and say, look, it's just the same as it was before. Yeah, we needed a player, but we're going to go in and just spend a little bit more money because we're that desperate just to get the player, and we've had our pants taken down again. Just make the decision. Go get a Zanderberger or an Ederson, whoever it is else that you're looking at, and forget about Ugarte. I think United will push all the way to the window and get him. But like we said, it's like looking at what is being reported this week with a full week preparation for the Brighton game and nothing else to really think about. Ugarte should be priority. That midfield area now, we should start getting a bit of news this week regarding transfers and players coming in. Hopefully we get some news with transfers going out as well. We touched on everything that's happening with Scott McTominay yesterday as well. Just an update there, like Sky Slow Sports News picking up on what we were saying yesterday from Damasio with Osimhen going to Chelsea, then freeing up money for Napoli to buy Scott McTominay. He only wants to go to Napoli apparently now, according to the reports. So let that pan out this week. Hopefully Chelsea can get a move on, because they need to trim their squad before the season starts. We'll see how Chelsea get on this afternoon as well. I am doing a watch along as well. The link is in the description. The mods will put it in the live chat for you guys as well. We are watching City versus Chelsea this afternoon from 4 o'clock, guys. We are live on Tifo, so jump across there. Click on the link in the description or in the live chat, which will come up in a minute. Arsenal puts in the sort of performance United fans think they did. I get what you're saying with that. I think United fans like KG have been saying United can be sitting comfortably in third to take advantage in case City charges hit. Look, I know United can get better. The good thing with United is that we can actually improve on what we've got right now. What I'm seeing with everybody else and all the other teams is that they are just carrying on the way they left off. Nothing's changed for me in the way that they play. Like United, I feel like there is room for improvement still. And that's the positive I'm sticking on to. I think every player can go up a level. I think everyone can perform better. And I think if we can still bring players in, then I think United are still favourites, I feel, to get into that top 4. We will know an awful lot about Manchester United by the end of this month in terms of what's happening on the pitch. Brighton, Liverpool, who both looked very good yesterday, will be massive tests for this team to see where we're actually at. I think that's going to be the interesting one by the end of this month. But I think United can improve. If we bring in a couple more signings, everyone in this club, everyone in this team can get better than what they were against Fulham. Some good performances, but I think there's still levels to go. So in terms of Manchester United getting 4th, I think it definitely is still on. More clinical, finishing chances, passing can be a little bit better in parts, but for a first game, I thought that was okay the other day against Fulham, and I'm a lot more optimistic than what I was the previous 2 seasons after the first game of the season under Ten Hag. I am a bit more upbeat, but I am very aware of what can happen in these next 2 games as well. I'm not stupid, and I know it can go the opposite way, but there is room there for United. I think the first team is strong enough at the moment to compete. I do think there are players we can bring in. I think Ugarte, you could argue, comes into that first team squad. But anyone else in the window now that we're supposedly looking at, I don't think comes straight into that squad. I don't. I think United are looking at a fullback in Adrian Truffert from Rennes. I think, like said, steady fullback. He's not going to come straight in, I don't think. No, is he? Or is he? Are you going to drop Dalot for someone like that? Is it worth bringing that player in for that amount of money? Honestly, no, is the answer for me. If you're looking to spend significant money on a left-back, I wouldn't. Unless it's someone you know is going to stand out, be your number 1 left-back. I wouldn't do it. I would go down the line that they've been saying. Get a loan. Don't go out spending money on a left-back. It is not worth it. It's not worth it at all for me. I think the money needs to be spent on midfield. It's all right standing your ground and saying you're going to just keep to your price for Ugarte. I know that. But what if you stand your ground and then Ugarte is off the table? You may have to spend 51 million on Ederson. You may have to spend a bit more. You may have to bring another couple of midfielders. Look, we've got cover at left back. We've got Dalot. We've got Mazraoui if needed. So I think that there we're fine. I don't want to spend any amount of money because he's supposedly around about 15 to 18 million euros. That can easily go elsewhere, and that can easily get you that better midfielder. So that story again, I'm not surprised the story's there with Truffert. I don't think it is realistic again. I don't. I look at that as more of a story. United are probably looking at fullbacks, and he's an option there for United with him only having 2 years left on his contract and then looking to cash in. But Rennes, let's not forget, I've just sold Desiree Doué to PSG, and PSG have lined their pockets with 60 million euros. So I don't think Rennes are in any desperate stage to actually sell Truffert to anybody. And Liverpool are interested in him as well, by the way. So really, I look at it and go, no, I don't fancy that story. I don't think it is a player that's going to come in and go, I'm better than Dalot or Shaw when he's fit, and I'm going to take this first team spot. Kudoglu was the answer for me. If you're going to spend money, I would definitely have spent it on Kudoglu because I know he's going to be a first team player for the next 5+ years. That's where you spend the money at this stage right now. I think Ugarte is worth the money to a certain extent, and he is a first team player. I think he does challenge Casemiro for that number 1 berth in that number 6 role. So, and like we said, it's like, will we play a different game to what we did with at Fulham? If Ugarte comes into Manchester United, do we play a different game? Because Casemiro was not playing as a 6. He was an alternating 8-6 with Kobbie Mainoo. The 2 holding players, I thought it was a bit, I'm going to be honest, a little bit kamikaze. We have a poll running as well, guys. Are you joining our City watch/hate along later? Let us know in the chat as well. Get involved, guys. Click on the link in the live chat. I feel like the midfield against Fulham was a bit kamikaze-ish. I thought Mainoo was high at times. I thought Casemiro was way too high at times. But this has to be instruction from Ten Hag. So if Ugarte comes in, we know what we're buying. He would be useless further up the field. He is a master of that holding role. He is going to be constantly sat in front of the back line. Is this what Ten Hag is doing? I think he's looking at Ugarte and going, I can definitely guarantee that this player will just sit there. He will love sitting there and destroying. Whereas Casemiro, I think, has got the tendencies just to drift forward, which then makes Kobbie Mainoo have to think twice. And I understand the old-fashioned days. Look, if you go, I drop back and stuff like that with the 2-man midfield. It is a bit more technical, the game these days. And I think we are still being left wide open in midfield. And where we didn't concede as many shots and we were defensively a lot more solid, I was pleased with that. There were still times in the opening 20 minutes of that game where we just weren't at it against Fulham, and they were running through our midfield at will. And we cannot afford that to happen again. So, yeah, it's a case of, I think Ugarte coming in, Ten Hag knows that he isn't going to get the tendencies to drift away. I think he could probably plan around with Ugarte a bit better than what he can Casemiro, personally. And don't get me wrong, I love Casemiro and I want him in the team. But I have to look at what I watched against Fulham, and he was further up the field and he was bleeding defending. So where actually is he playing? How high can we play? Where is that line going to be in terms of that back 4? So Ugarte, I feel, ticks a box for Ten Hag in a way where he knows he's just going to sit there, and he could probably plan around the rest of his attack and his defence with that man and that master of that trade there, because Casemiro is not it. Casemiro at Real Madrid, you can get away with what he did against Fulham because you got world-class players who are going to score loads of goals as well. So he probably looked brilliant in a Madrid shirt more than he would ever in a United shirt because we've got so many deficiencies. And by that, I mean not putting the ball on the back of the net and taking the pressure off players like Casemiro in the defence, who are constantly scrutinised for every single challenge that they make because the players up front don't put the ball in the net. Forwards can take the pressure off every element of the game. That's why you pay big money for forwards more than you would defenders. Everyone says, look, you build from the back. You do. But if you don't put the ball in the back of the net, there's only so long that back line can hold out for, and they're the ones getting overly criticised because one little mistake from them is going to cost United a big result. It's the forwards that need to get their act together more than anyone. And I keep saying this. I feel like the defence at the moment is in a good place. I do. Midfield, I think Ten Hag just wants that extra protection because of what's happening. He needs to bed in Højlund. He needs to bed in Xerxes. He needs to figure out what his best front line is. Is it Rashford? Is it Garnacho and Ahmad? He's got plenty of options there to work with, especially when Højlund comes back. So that's how I see Ten Hag's mentality with Ugarte. I think he covers a lot of issues, I feel, in being that one player that just wants to actually play there and loves just playing there and being a destroyer, like the Makalele type of player. Like the Conte type of player, just loves doing what he does in tackling and just being that nuisance in front of the back 4. I think that is where we need to be at, and I think Ten Hag, I feel, I think he's noticed that, and that is where Manchester United and why Manchester United are going for Ugarte more than any other player. That's just my opinion. I'm going to come to the chat now for the rest of the show and get your comments in, guys. Regarding the Tifo watch-along, guys, later, we've got a poll up now. Are you joining a City watch-along/hate-along later? No, says a few people. 34% of you are actually coming and watching. That's good. That means that we have got a good chunk of people in there. On Tifo, Guys, the link is in the live chat right now. Click on there, completely free. That's our new platform for watch-alongs, guys. So come along, watch the game later. We are doing the Brighton game next weekend as well on there. So, yeah, away games and a few of the bigger other Premier League games. We're mixing it up as well. So get on there, get your chance to get on and have a say as well. We get people on video calls, on TFOs, give you your say. We're going to be talking transfers on there and getting your opinions on a lot of the business and who you would buy. And we are going to be talking in the City game a lot about that Fulham game. So kind of like a call-in show as well, guys. So if you want to come on and have your say with me, get on, get your opinions across, get on to TIFO, click on the link, completely free, and come along. 4 o'clock we are live. We're going to be getting plenty of opinions on that while watching City and Chelsea. Hopefully Chelsea taking City down in the first game of the season. I think it's a good time for Chelsea to be playing City, actually. All right, guys, get in the chat. Let me know. Our closing down got much worse when Mount went off. Fulham looked better after the sub. It did change. It did. We got to a stage where, you know what, with Mason Mount playing, it's a good point, actually, Ricky, but with Mason Mount and what he was doing and the press he was doing, if Bruno had took his chances and Mount had maybe put his away as well, then I don't think we're looking at a different... I think we're looking at a different game altogether. Jack said that on the fan vlogs, actually. If we'd have took chances, and again, if, buts, maybe, shoulda, woulda, coulda, FC and all of that, if we'd have took them chances, then Manchester United would have been... We would have been talking a completely different sort of game. And we wouldn't have been talking about Mason Mount coming off because United needed to risk it a bit and go a bit different and go a bit more direct because we did start going long diagonal as well. The press was brilliant with Bruno and Mount there. We did get some balls. We got some ball possession, some turnover ball high up the field as well. A lot more than what we used to do last season, which was good. Obviously, we brought up the point about not conceding as many shots. That's because we put Fulham on the back foot, and we did after the first 20 minutes, I think. So from 20 minutes up to about 70, I thought United were by far the best team. The last 20, it got a bit desperate, and it was a bit end-to-end and a bit... But, you know, games go that way, don't they? They do. Again, it brings back into the equation, like, the Ugarte transfer and how significant this next purchase is for United in the midfield area. Like a Sander Berger, who is comfortable as anybody on the ball in tight positions outside his own box and further in. So Sander Berger from 6 to 8 to 10, he's not going to play a 10, never. But in transition and in moving the ball forward, he is comfortable in all of them areas. I just think that is gold for Manchester United right now. If we can sell Scott McTominay and bring Sander Berger in and Manuel Ugarte in, I think United, completely different proposition altogether. That's my ultimate win. Ugarte and Sander Berger definitely are where United need to be looking. Mason Mount cost more than quality defensive midfielder, waste of 60 million. I understand both sides of that. We're not slagging Mason Mount off as a player there, and I don't think you are either, Al. I think what we got to say is that money could have been spent elsewhere. Did we need Mason Mount? It's a good point. Derek says, because we don't have a DM, our fullback can't go full attack mode. They need to cover the defence, but with a destroyer, he will drop back two from the back three in defence. Sorry, it's a few typos in there, mate. That didn't make sense, but I get you. Like fullbacks being able to roam forward a little bit more because you've got a holding midfielder who can cover. Get all of that. It's dead right. And I think United definitely are in need of someone like that. If we're going to play as open as we was against Fulham, then I think we definitely need to be looking into that. Following on, in Australia, there have been a few clubs breaking salary cap breaches, and the penalties have been very severe. One team losing the cup and also draft picks. In different countries, yeah, it's a different rule everywhere else. I think with what we're going to find out regarding Man City charges and everything, because I can see a few of you talking about that in the chat as well, it does open up everything in the Premier League. We did a video on it the other day, does all of this sort of financial fair play and PSR just fall into complete insignificance? Do the Premier League lose all credibility if they lose out to Manchester City in these charges in this case? It's going to be a really interesting time. What if we lose Mazraoui and Dalot to injury? We probably will. What then? Look, how many players can you just... Are you supposed to base your whole season around losing players to injury. What should we do? Buy another 2 fullbacks because we're scared that players are going to get injured? Look after the players better. Stop overplaying them. Play them when needed in games are not as important. We cannot go into a season thinking that he's going to get injured, we need to buy another player. We can't do that. On the books right now in Manchester United's first team, we have 2 right backs and we have 3 left backs. And we're worrying about injuries to these players. I understand injuries play a part and we do have to be ready, but you cannot fill your squad full of players that are not going to get a game when there are no injuries. I don't think you can look at the injury situation. Make sure you've got enough cover, but it comes down to looking after the players, I think, more than anything. I think that's where you need to be going. But yeah, just to top everything up, news-wise, again, guys, before we wrap up the show, the Uruguayan media, South American media are pushing on Ugarte being very, very close again. United have alternatives and are in conversations with Atalanta for Ederson. Also looking at TRUFFERT as well from Rennes as a fullback option. I think in terms of the reality of them 3 transfers in particular, Ederson only if United make a decision this week regarding Ugarte and they're not going for him. TRUFFERT, I don't think there's anything in it because I don't think United would spend that much on a fullback that isn't going to be first team, and I don't think he would be, as in first pick, as in the starting lineup. And I just feel like United right now have got a massive week ahead of them. Full preparation for Brighton. We will be back later on, guys, as well with any updates. Stay tuned. Make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure that you have got your bell notification on. And obviously, please do give the video a like. We're over 400 live likes. Thank you so much, everybody. I will be back later on with any updates around midday if anything is going on. Stay tuned. And, of course, we are with the watch-along later and the evening show later on today as well. So, thank you, everybody, again. That is your Sunday morning update all done. I will see you all a bit later on. Have a good one, people.